Um, and with that, I introduce Nanda, our one of our career conversations, and we're excited to learn more. So, as we all know, Nanda is the academic director for the global programs, and he is also the executive director for the Institute on Global Health. So, and so much more. So, take it away.
Thanks everyone. So the one thing I wanted you all to kind of uh, keep in mind is when a door opens, walk through the door. Don't wait for the ideal door to open, right? So, so it was very interesting when I came here to do I was a bureaucrat in India, and when I came here to do my PhD, my first offer I got when I was finishing up my dissertation, because I was working on domestic issues, was to head up a center which they were going to fully fund at the University of Illinois. Okay, and it was fully funded. I didn't have to bring in any money, and it was, I had enough publications where on that topic area they promised me tenure in the third year or second year or third year, right? And by the time I came back, they had in those days we used fax. They faxed a job offer to my wife, and then they arranged for us to fly down and have a real estate agent who would but by then I was kind of trying to figure out where one can have more of an impact. And increasingly, I was thinking that it's really in global health that, where the big problems are. In the US context, I was working on long-term care in the US and long-term care insurance. And once, they got a few legislative things done, that was pretty much it. So at that point, I got an offer from Harvard School of Public Health to say, would you like to come and, be an assistant professor and really, move into global health? Okay. And so I said, yes, why not? Right? How, it's worth taking a risk. So then all I'm saying is, doors will open for you, and take those doors and make the best of it, right? And then, of course, Stan Wallach, who was my mentor and who was, many of you probably haven't run into Stan, he was a force of nature at the Heller School. He kept telling me, you need to come to Heller. What are you doing sitting at Harvard? Okay, so then I moved to Heller, right? And honestly, this turbulence that we are observing now is par for the course. It's so don't take it personally. Don't get disheartened. These things happen, right? I mean, we all have to adjust and adapt. So let me stop here, and I'm happy to take some questions. No question. Come on, go ahead.
Yeah. First, I would like to thank so much for organizing this forum. I think that it's really the discussion I'm looking forward, because I also have somehow similar background as Nanda. Like I also grew up in a low and middle income country, working for the government for a number of years, and then moving to US for the PhD program. I think when I'm thinking about who I want to ask a question about, like advice for my career, I was thinking of Nanda firstly. So I'm so glad to have this option. I have quite many questions, but for now I would like to ask first, as PhD student at Heller, because I can see that our program is quite focused on domestic. Because of my background, I really want to work on like a global health, because like I have my working experience in low and middle income country, and then from my working experience, I work for a program like it's really global health. So
right.
is any like opportunities for PhD students came from Heller to do the global work or global health, working in global health. Is there any like advantage or like a disadvantage for PhD students to do participate in this field?
So Tozo, Ichin, and you are all working on global health research, right? So it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't matter if there's a predominance of looking at domestic issues, but my advice would be, and you're all already doing it. And so my advice is look for those opportunities, right? Get on those projects and start publishing, right? I think even before you finish your PhDs, it would be good if you had 3, 4, 5 papers published, right? And so what happens is that once you then look at a postdoc position or an academic, you have to make up your mind. Do you want to be in academia and a researcher, or would you want to be in other areas where you're actually implementing in the field, right? Or whether you want to be involved at a very high policy level. So you have to make kind of, and my suggestion is try everything and you'll find out what is good for you. But all of you are already working on global health issues and doing excellent work. So and the reason is that once you get to know us and we get to know you, we are the ones who kind of can make some introductions, right? I mean, somebody will call me up and say, hey, I'm trying to recruit a postdoc. And I might say, oh, I have got a fantastic student. So, and then, that's how your first job really is the responsibility. I'm not saying responsibility, but I'm saying a lot of it is your academic advisor or people you're working with on research. They should take on the responsibility of opening the doors for you. So
yeah,
not you're all very busy, so you don't give as much time as I would like.
I'm laughing, Nanda.
Tozo, yes, Tozo did her master's with us, and came back to do her PhD, and Tozo, we are getting whatever we can of your time, but again, I fully understand. I'm just joking. I understand that you're all busy and finishing. Yeah. Good. Betchen?
Thank you so much, Professor, for this opportunity. I come from a middle income, anyway, from Nigeria.
Yep.
And my work experience has been in the public service. And while working in the public service, I work with a Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. So like it exposes me to like investment opportunities, investment potentials of the country, and then as well as poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poverty and inequality in terms of distribution of resources and all that. And I really enjoy the work, but the way the system is structured, sometimes, it depends on who is in leadership. So the leadership determines like the kind of work or the impact you make.
Yes.
Yeah. So while doing that as a public servant, I'm also involved in gender-related activities, particularly on domestic violence, which I also founded an NGO in that. But because I'm a public servant, I can't really do what I need to do in gender-related activities. So coming to Hella, I'm doing a master's in sustainable international development, which I try to build my concentration around gender and development while looking at poverty, inequality.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm trying to change my career path. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm trying to change my career path, because somehow I don't feel like going back to my country, I will be able to make the kind of impact I want in my organization.
Right. Well,
So what advice would you
No, this is what I would suggest, right? You have to kind of make up, you don't have to be in government in your country to make impact. Or you can go to Africa, and because Africa is where, honestly, in global health, a lot of work is happening, right? So you could, in a sense, think of whether you want to be in the US or you want to go back and join an international NGO in Africa, right? I mean, it's your call. You can join from what you're telling me, you would like to be in uh, an NGO setting, right, where you're dealing with issues of gender-based violence, and where you can, where you have the freedom to kind of make a difference in people's lives. It's very hard to do it from within the government, okay, because governments have all the rules and regulations. On the one hand, governments give you the opportunity to make a big difference, or on the other hand, they can completely stymie you. So my suggestion would be, start thinking early and quick, because these programs go by very fast at the Heller School. So you should start identifying a set of international NGOs that work on gender-based violence. And then my recommendation would be that, Professor Larry Simon, right, Professor Joseph Hassan, all of them are incredibly well networked. And if you want some introductions to international NGOs, I'm happy to make those introductions for you as well. I mean, that is something we should all be doing for you, and it's easily done. It's not a big effort. That's what we should be here doing, right? We should be helping you all in your careers. And then once you have your foot in and you start, then it's up to you. But the initial introductions, I'll be happy to make some introductions for you, right? And we'll go from there.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Not at all. We have Tozo and Yichin.
Yichin can go first.
Yichin.
Okay, thanks, Tozo. And my name is Yichin Luan, and I'm a PhD student at Heller studying health policy. And I think my question for Professor Nanda, maybe not very directly to finding jobs, but my question is about doing research in global health field, because my understanding is that global health is really a huge topic, many
Yes.
things going on there. So for a researcher in this area, how to select a specific lane that you are interested in, that's like a climate change, maternal and a child health, or adolescent, or many issues going on there. So can I ask your experience? How did you end up with your specific expertise?
Yeah, no. So when people do their masters, I always say that you are taking a rope when you're studying the rope, right? When you do your PhD, you take the rope and you hit it, and there's a speck of dust that comes out, and you spend 6 years of your life studying that speck of dust. Okay, so that's what you do in a PhD, right? I mean, you're really narrowed it down. Now you have to kind of decide early on, what are you really passionate about doing, right? For me, Yichin, you've been doing a lot of work. You've been engaged in a lot of the work that we have been doing, and you've been an amazing contributor. It's really operating at the policy level, right? I mean, for me, the important thing is, can we get very rigorous research and then take that and make policy changes at a high level, so that once you change the system, then, the system is at a better area of functioning. And so that's what I've been interested personally in doing, right? And even within that, the area that I kind of gravitated to as a health economist was really around healthcare financing. Okay, so that's. But then you have to kind of you have to figure out what you want to do, right? There are people who really want to do NIH-funded research, which is highly technical, right? Which is really looking at what is happening at the level of a facility, and things like that. And so it's, what are you passionate about? You have to kind of decide, and once you decide, you need to kind of start creating a reputation for yourself in that lane, correct? Now you're already co-authoring 3 papers, right? And so in the 3 papers that you're co-authoring, these are highly technical papers, right? But you're also working on a policy simulation model, which is very interesting, correct? So you know, in a sense, you are by your own, you know, by your own inclination. The day you went and said, okay, we have something called honest DID, I said, okay, you know, you really like to get into the technical details of things, and that's your strength, right? And I'm much more at, I do the research and I say, okay, what are the findings and how can I use the findings in my discussions with the State Department, with Global Fund, with others, with countries, ministers of finance, to bring, so we are, you know, our strengths and interests may, but you should play to your own interest and your own strengths. Don't follow anybody else.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah.
Right. And my advice to all of you is, I know you're all looking for jobs in the US, and each of you and I had a long conversation this morning. Look at Canada. Okay. Canada, honestly, the universities there are looking to hire people. They you know, so, and we had one of our PhD students from many years ago. She's a full professor who's tenured in Canada, and she loves it. She absolutely loves it. So don't restrict yourself to finding a job in the US. The other thing I would recommend is, don't look only for a postdoc position in an academic institution. For example, RAND does incredibly rigorous work, okay? And they pay exceptionally well too. So what I'm saying is, spread your net wide, because, you know, RAND does very high-end research. So there are a number of institutions which are not pure academia, let us say. RAND does give a PhD, has a PhD program that they run. But spread your kind of net a little wider, both within the US and outside the US. Tozo, you have your hand up.
Hi, Nanda.
Hi, Tozo.
I think I came into my PhD very clear about what I wanted to research, where I wanted to do my work, and where I wanted to be after this. So I knew I wanted to do maternal health in sub-Saharan Africa, understanding access to care, physical access. I was really interested in midwifery care and understanding the role that midwives can play in access to maternal services. And I wanted to do it somewhere in Africa, and I wanted to get out and go to the UN or the World Health Organization. I worked for the RTI. I worked for RTI. Or the world. I want to work for the World Health Organization or the UNFPA. So I had a clear understanding. My frustration when I came into the program was, one, I didn't find any resources to help me to make this goal attainable, to help me connect the dots with regards to my research and my content, and also professionally. How do I connect the dot professionally with regards to conferences, fellowships? So I'm applying all the fellowships that's coming out of the health policy concentration are very domestically focused. So when I talk about my work, I don't get those fellowships because they recognize that my work is not focused in the United States. So I have to do like the extra major legwork to find fellowships that are rooted in international work, because it's not coming out of the Heller institution. Do you understand that?
Do.
That part? So that part is really frustrating.
So
and then I'm trying to also build a research in a global way where I don't have anybody at Heller who can actually help me develop that. So I have to go in a sociology department or this department and fight with them to get some space in this very tight, course load that they've created for us. I have to fight with them and say that because you lack the work that I need, I have to branch out. You know, it's very exhausting.
No, there was a time when we had a global health and development concentration in the PhD program that Larry and I kind of chaired. Professor Larry Simon and I chaired. And over the years, what happened was that the number of students became less and less and less. But what is really fascinating to me is that even those students are coming in saying that they're interested in, they're getting into the concentration, which is maybe a lot of our students are doing work in global health. Okay, they're doing their dissertations in global health, right? And so tell me, Tozo, I know that I read your proposal and I gave you some comments, right? And tell me, what can I do to help you?
Well, for me, I think I've been very fortunate to have, said yes to all those opportunities that came knocking, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's really helped me sort of develop my work with regards to having somebody at BU or having somebody in the sociology department that I worked with to sort of bring me to the space where I'm really interested in collecting data to understand what's going on in facility with regards to midwifery care and provision of care for midwives in facility in Kisumu. So I'm trying to figure out how to get funding so that this is feasible for me to do. And that's why I'm very frustrated, because most of the fellowships that's coming out of this institute of the Heller of our health policy program is usually very domestic.
Right.
And yes, I force myself to look, and I've been looking and digging, and if I can get some help finding some other means for funding to fund my work, that's maybe more international focused, that would be very helpful.
No, I completely, Tozo, your concern is very valid, right? And you and I have talked about this many times, right? So for example, on the PhD website, it says a concentration in global health, but there is no concentration in global health, right? But let's think creatively. Let me see. Let's set up some time. Let's meet one-on-one, and we'll see what you're looking for, and whether in Kenya there are lots of funding opportunities in Kenya itself.
So why I'm excited about my work, and especially collecting data, is I actually got to talk to people at the UN and talk to people at WHO who are specifically interested in the research that I'm hoping to do. So if I can do this work, it helps me land a job. Even, this work would be my CV basically.
No, absolutely.
So it would be very helpful.
But what I've liked about you, honestly, is that you never give up. Okay? No, seriously. I mean, if it doesn't work out here, you're saying, okay, I'm going to go to sociology and figure out and then, and you are very persistent. Okay. So it's a trait that will come in very handy for you in the future, because you are very forward leaning. You are very proactive. Yeah. You don't take no for an answer. Right. So if you're looking for, I know you're working in Kisumu. If there is, let's set up some time to meet, and I'll be happy to put you in touch with a few people who might be able to get some local funding in Kenya for you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So we have kind of answered all the questions. We have Jasmine, anything else?
I wanted to ask one question, and that is, Nanda, we are very lucky to have you as a resource here at the Heller School. Who else should these folks be looking to? What other networks are of value to this population, above and beyond? I always say, if something happens to you, like you get an amazing job somewhere else.
I just keel over, right?
Yeah, I didn't say that. You said that. I didn't say that. But how can they
I-
either what are the skills that they use to develop those,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
what resources would you recommend?
Yeah, there are two or three things. One, I think Professor Don Shepard is really, really, you know, incredibly well recognized in the global health space. You should reach out to him. And Professor Diana Bowser, who's now at BC, right? I mean, she's the associate dean for research. Reach out to her. I mean, from what I gather, she wants to build out a research team where she is, right? So you have people who are at Heller or were at Heller, who are now at different places. I would strongly recommend you do that. If you ask me, you know, the School of Public Health at BU has become very strong in the last 5 years, under their new dean. They don't do the kind of work that I like, but they have become extremely strong, and they actually have hired 40 junior faculty in 2 years. Okay, wow. 40. So my suggestion would be to use us to get some introductions to people at BU. Now, if you really want to get into health economics and the really quant stuff, we have excellent connections, right? We have we have people at Harvard who we can put you in touch with. We have people at BU, Department of Economics, the chair who's a health economist, Randy Ellis is fantastic, right? And Tom McGuire is amazing. We can make the introductions for you. You just need to let us know what you would like, and come and kind of, if we forget for a week, come back and say, by the way, have you forgotten? Please make the introduction, and we'll do that. Okay. So if you want to be in health economics and in a mainstream department of economics, then BU has a very strong health economics, and Harvard Medical School, actually, where Joe Newhouse and Tom McGuire sit, has an incredibly strong health economics portfolio, right? Now, if you're interested in more qualitative research and more in the public health space, I think the BU School of Public Health is very strong. I would absolutely reach out to Professor Diana Bowser at BC. BC has got, and I know she's planning to grow her, she's settling in, but she wants to build out her research team. And she's she knows all of you, and she's an outstanding researcher as well. And if you're interested in looking at DC, at Georgetown, we have some outstanding connections. Our alumni, Wu Zheng is an associate professor there, right? Tuong, you probably know Wu Zheng, yeah. Wu was, when I started the MS program, I would handpick the students from around the world. And Wu Zheng was in the first batch of students that we brought into the MS program. He's brilliant, okay? So, you reach out to people like Wu, right? And they have their own networks. And so they can put you in touch. So be proactive and reach out.
Thank you. That's great advice. So like I said, we really have appreciated your effort. And at a time like this, I think it's really important that people think about all of your resources. So every single person who has ever come through Brandeis is in your network, right? You can access them on LinkedIn, you can access them on BConnect, and my office stands at the ready to help you with those informational interviews and to build your network and to strengthen it.
So for example, one of our alumni from the MS program is the current dean of the School of Public Health in Kigali, in Rwanda. Okay. So we have people, who have graduated from the program, and they all have, they all are, we used to call ourselves the global nomads, because, we all came together and then we all dispersed around the world, right? So they're everywhere. And so they are in positions of they're working in very senior positions in academia, in research, in consulting firms. So, you be proactive. And if you want us to help you, just come and ask us, and we're all there to help you anytime.
Any other questions? I think. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Please.
Professor Nanda, you just mentioned a position in Rwanda, and that relates to my another question. I just wonder what would be the difference between being a researcher from global north, from developed country, the difference between being a researcher from global south, some developing country. How would that impact our research and the perspective?
No, honestly, when I look at, I have extensive connections
in the United States here.
No, so all I'm saying is that they do outstanding research, right? I mean, so one thing is to say, do you want to go there and work? The other thing is, do you want to collaborate, right? So, for example, if you look at Makerere University in Uganda, right, or you look at the University of Nairobi in Kenya, or you look at the University for Global Health Equity in Rwanda, right? I mean, you have, or WITS in South Africa. I mean, you have outstanding universities and researchers in those places. And similarly in India, right? So what I'm saying is that, for example, Chula is a fantastic university. And the person, I don't know if she's still there, who used to be the chair of the Department of Economics, was one of my, when I was at Harvard, she was my advisee. So, but I'm telling you, the kind of work they do is absolutely amazing, okay? So the question for you is, you don't have to necessarily go there and work, but you can find ways to collaborate with. Right.
I know this is a very busy time. And that you have a lot of draws on your time. We really appreciate you all being here, and we are looking forward to supporting you now and into your burgeoning careers. So, and you have a big team all pulling for you and trying to figure out how we can support you. So, I hope that I see some of you in my office, particularly if you're looking to kind of make that transition post-Heller. Dong, do you want to go ahead?
I want to take this opportunity to ask one more question, if it's possible. Yeah. I am about following the advice about to be clear what we want to do when we graduate. So at this point, I'm quite clear what I want to do. I want to pursue a career in non-academia. Working for an international organizations, as some organization you mentioned, like RTI or AP or like the government agency. So I also want to ask,
Well, I would also look at places like the Global Fund.
Global Fund, yes.
The reason I'm saying is that they have a lot of money, they have a lot of positions, and they hire a lot of PhD postdocs, right? So, we know a lot of people at Palladium and APT and places like that. I mean, I'll tell you the slight difference, right? So if you're working for an APT, then they get money from USAID to implement something. So you are doing what USAID wants you to do. You're not doing what you want to do, right? So it's a little bit of slightly different. But if you're working at a place like WHO, or you're working at a place like the Global Fund, and what I like, I mean, had multiple offers to go to Geneva, which I didn't take because I had no desire to go to Geneva. But what I'm saying is that once you go to Geneva, you have so many international agencies and institutions there that people make a life there. I mean, they just move from one international agency institution to the other, right? So look at places like the Global Fund, and if you are all interested in some introductions at the Global Fund, I'll be happy to make that.
Thank you. Yes, and also I want to ask, like now, let's say I'm in the last year of the PhD program. So if I aim to want to have a job in an international organization, what should I prioritize? Like, do I need to see? Is necessary to pursue a postdoc or prioritize my time to explore the network and then looking for the jobs around this organization?
So really, it's really important to do the job interviews in 3 to 4 months before you are going to defend your dissertation. Okay, it's very important, and there are various venues, there are openings, there are platforms where you can do this. Now, this is the right time. So if this is your last year and you are planning now, you can, as I said, you don't have to necessarily do a postdoc. What I'm saying is that if you're really, you've got I know your background, so you have a lot of policy skills. You know the HIV world exceptionally well. You bring a lot of expertise there, and and you're quantitatively very strong. So you should be kind of reaching out through me or through anybody else to people like the Global Fund and saying, here is a person who's going to graduate with a PhD in 5 months or 4 months or whatever, right? And take it from there.
Thank you so much. That's really okay. Open the door for me.
Yeah, happy to. Anytime.
I often say that's actually what you're paying for with your money and your time for these connections.
I also have to say that we also learn a lot from doing research, working for the research at Nanda. I think that is really help us to build our skills and knowledge in research and help us be confident to prepare for looking a job.
No, that's exactly right. So because the interesting thing is we've been asking questions where we didn't know whether we would be able to answer it, right? But if we were able to answer it, it would be transformative. So you should not be afraid to fail. Don't play it safe. Like all the research that we are doing, honestly, that the spillover effects or other things that we are doing are things that people have not asked that question before. And we are asking that question, and we didn't know when going in whether we would be able to answer it, whether we didn't know what the answer would be, whether it would be something, but it kind of worked out. It doesn't always work out. And so don't be very safe, right? Push the envelopes of research. Okay.
I was just going to second Tuong's statement about being able to work on your project has really sharpened my skills, both quantitatively and qualitatively, for real. And even when I first started your work, I was not thinking it would be very related to my work, given that it was a lot of HIV work. But doing the qualitative work, and I'm seeing the interactions with health professionals,
right,
and the resource gap that is causing midwives to not be able to provide the care that they want to provide, and they have to put mother mentors, for example, who are just mothers who have children but don't have any clinical skills, but they're doing clinical work in the hospital because they lack resources.
Right. So, and I'm so all, whether it's qualitative or quantitative research, it's all good, right? And what you need is to get the skill set, and you can apply it across different problems. So, right. So econometrics is econometrics. I mean, you can apply it to 15 different problems. It's just a tool, right? In the technique. So anyway, so I'll be. I'm just trying to shake off that cold. I don't want to give it to anybody. So in a few days, I'll be back in the office. But come and see me anytime, and continue working on my project. Don't stop working on my project.
That's really great opportunity for us. So we want to continue. It's good teaching, good training for us.
There is enough and more work for everybody to do. Okay, there's plenty of things to do. So, and that's the advantage of bringing in some research funding, right? I mean, so then, it gives you, and then I know that you're all finishing up your dissertations. You're all under pressure. Hi, Shafiq, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am well. So, yeah. Now, if you want to, if you really want to figure out how to be an entrepreneur, go talk to Shafiq. You don't have to come talk to me.
I understand that.
Anyway, any final thoughts?
No, I think from my office and from me, I thank you. And I hope that I heard loud and clear his open door. And I hope that you will take full advantage of that.
Please do, please.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate the time
Thank
for
you,
us.
Nanda.
My pleasure.
Thanks,
You
everyone.
just meet